Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Rajesh, and I manage the enterprise business at Revry, and I'll be your host for the evening. Let me take you through today's schedule. Broadly, today's event is divided in two parts. First, we have a panel discussion on localization as a catalyst for reaching 500 million Indian users. And in the second session, we will have a launch of our new product, Prabandhak, and that will be followed up by a Q&A session. Now, what is Prabandhak? Prabandhak is a unique a cloud-based AI-powered translation management hub that ensures swift, easy, and accurate localization. Now, to set the context, I'll have to show you, a picture of real India. We are a very crafty race because we do things differently here. For example, we go to American McDonald's and order aloo tikki burger. When interacting with someone for the first time, we ask, what is your good name? As if people have one good and one bad name. While pointing something behind us, we say backside. So there are only two sides, left and right. Other two directions are called rear and front. Another interesting one is it's raining outside. As if in some countries, it rains inside as well. What I'm trying to say is that there is no standardization in our English, right? And on top of that, we have our own 22 official Indian languages. So if we, the unique race, do the unique things to products, words, phrases, then the biggest problem is consistency, right? And especially the people who represent translation industry in today's webinar can certainly vouch for that. And that, my friends, is one of the issues which is addressed by our platform, Prabandhak. There are many more, so stay tuned. We'll be talking about them as well. And to start with, I would like to call Arvind, who's our CEO, and request him to share his thoughts on how he sees Indian languages becoming an integral part of the communication strategy for all the brands, companies who operate here. Hi, Arvind. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajesh. नमस्कार, मैं रेवरी की तरफ से आप सबको इस वेबिनार में स्वागत करता हूं. Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking our time today to learn about Reverie and what we are doing for the Indian language industry. Life today seems to have come a full circle, induced by the pandemic and the general unrest globally. Globalization seems to be paving the way for more nationalist sentiments, and countries worldwide are talking about becoming more self-reliant. Self-reliance means depending more on local. And for India, our languages are as local as they can get. And the importance of our languages couldn't have been realized at a more opportune moment for us. Today, when the entire country needs to be made aware with credible information during this pandemic, guess what languages come to our rescue? Yes, it isn't English, but Indian languages that we had to rely on to be able to reach every corner of the country. Let me share a little piece of history about our languages. English as a language was introduced in India by British during their rule. And so was English medium education during the same time. And the British introduced English medium education so that a few Indians could become the bridge of communication between British and the Indians for the effectiveness of their governance and rule. Now, it has been more than 75 years since India attained its independence. However, we have continued to promote English as a language, and that also as a mainstream medium for our education. Over the last 75 years, English has come to become the primary language in India, to a point of being promoted at the expense of Indian languages. Gradually, we started believing that English was enough for India, and Indian languages always played second fiddle to English. Indian languages over the years have been associated with certain prejudices, that such users don't have enough buying power, Indian languages do not belong to the youth, and they are deeply rural. The reality is far from these myths. Over 65% of Tier 1 city population prefers local languages over English. Over 60% of local language news consumption on internet is by youth in the age group of 18 to 28 years. And if English really were an indication of buying power, the founders of the largest business houses in India were not exactly fluent in English, but built their businesses using their local languages. Let us look at the two biggest revolutions India has witnessed so far. Media and communication industry, which has come to become a $20 billion industry and covers about 77% of India's population. Next is telecommunication, which is a $33 billion industry and covers about 82% of India's population. Come to think about it, could these industries have reached such heights had they focused only on English users? Inclusion was at the heart of these industries by design. By contrast, Internet is a much bigger revolution than these two and has the potential to be much bigger industry contributing to India's economy. However, the coverage of Internet in India so far is barely 10%, primarily because by design it keeps the Indian language users away. All the major non-English developed nations of the world like Germany, France, Spain, China, Russia, South Korea, and even countries closer home, closer to India like Vietnam, Indonesia, and Thailand have adopted the internet in their languages, with English also having a role in those. None of these countries has grown at the expense of neglecting their languages, and the results are there for all of us to see. It is time India also adopted Indian languages with the same vigor as it has adopted English. Indian Constitution states right to equality, right to freedom, and cultural and educational rights among the 6 fundamental rights of every Indian citizen. How is it possible for the citizens to exercise these fundamental rights without the right to choose their language? And when they are forced into English, which is still a foreign language for most Indians. It is time India owned its own languages and made internet an inclusive channel. This is precisely what we at Reverie have been tirelessly working on for over a decade now, with a singular mission of making internet equal and empowering for every Indian, irrespective of their languages. We were the first company in the world in 2011 to build support for Indian languages on Android through our partnership with Qualcomm. Since then, we have been working on various technologies on Indian languages, including machine translation, speech to text, text to speech, among many others. We have touched over 200 million lives since our inception so far, and we aspire to touch at least 500 million lives in next 2 to 3 years. I welcome you today to the launch of Prabandhak, one more product that takes us a step closer to our mission. I also welcome you to join this movement for local and build a truly inclusive Indian internet for India. Thank you once again, and dhanyavad for joining us today. Over to you, Rajesh, for taking us through the rest of the program today.
Thank you so much, Arvind, for sharing those thoughts. Now we will move over to our panel discussion. Let me start by introducing our esteemed panelists. Our first guest is Aritra. Aritra currently reads editorial at Local, which is a Bangalore-based funded media startup backed up by Y Combinator. Our next guest is Sunil. Sunil is the president of Fiddle Group of Companies and covers technology, localization, and consulting. Our next guest is Harish, an experienced officer with a demonstrated history of working with the Ministry of Home Office, the Government of India. Our fourth panelist and also the moderator for our panel discussion is Vivek. Vivek is our co-founder and CTO. A very warm welcome to all of our panelists. And with that, Vivek, I hand over the floor to you.
Thank you, Rajesh, and namaskar, everyone. It's the thoughts that Arvind has shared. They are very meaningful and very timely at this time. It does emphasize something that we have all been experiencing in various industries today, that the pandemic has brought in certain restrictions around the way that we had been living our lives. But the restrictions also ended up in opening us up into a lot of things that we were unable to or unwilling to rather accept. And one of those is definitely communicating in our own languages. It has been established that with more and more people requiring to communicate or use digital services or online services, otherwise being able to offline digital services. So that makes it very important. That makes it very important for them to be reached out in local languages, non-English. So, that has been a very big eye-opening thing for all of us. And today we have a very interesting panel. Sunil, Aritra, and Harish, all the three of them coming from different aspects of the industry with pretty deep experience on the subject of being able to reach out to people in their own languages. So I'll probably start the discussion by with a question to Aritra. So Aritra, what exactly would we do differently to build products for the people who prefer native languages over English? Although we all consider that the population in tier 2, tier 3 cities is probably more native language users, but statistics have also been saying that even in the larger cities, there is a majority of the population is still non-English and would prefer native. So, but the digital applications or products often are created to be reaching out better for the English users. So, what is it that we would do differently for the native language preferring?
All right. Thanks, Vivek, for the question. So first, I really like to thank the fact that I'll start on a lighter note. Everybody has been using the word local in the last 10 minutes. That's the name of our company. The only difference is there is a K in between in place of a C. So thank you for giving us branding like this for the last 10 minutes. We are happy for that. So yeah, I mean, I should thank the Prime Minister of the country. He gave us branding like that. But here's the thing. I'll simplify things a little. Couple of things that I have noticed from a personal point of view in the last 3 to 4 years while working with organizations before I worked with while working with organizations who were building local products. The first thing that comes to my mind is, user empathy. To hear these words, these are very simple words, simple English language words, user empathy. I mean, so what? See, we got to understand while our internet education, like our internet education, all of you here, our internet education happened through computers. The next billion users in tier 2, tier 3 towns in India, their education, they are getting access to internet through the mobile phone. Right. So we as a community, we have developed mental models through computers, people like you and me. But the current users that folks like you are building products, folks like us are building products and services. The current users, they have developed their mental models through their cell phones. For example, you remember the floppy disks? You remember the floppy disks that we used to use long back. So there's a lot of icons on the internet that means the floppy icon would mean save. But for most of the users in tier 2, tier 3 towns, they wouldn't understand the floppy icon at all. So hence, what we also try to do, we try and give a tech support with the icons, which is called verbose, wherever possible. Point that I'm trying to make in the under user empathy, logos and in text, in features in the app, which are customized for users in tier 2, tier 3 towns and beyond. Second most important point, this is as a word, it is abused a lot across the industry. And the reason I say it's abused a lot, it's not used the way it is supposed to be used. Understanding user needs. I've been a journalist for 13 years. I've talked to so many people across the globe. They've always told us, every CEO tells me, I have a user-centric approach. And I've always asked that, what do you mean by a user-centric approach? Let me define this. Like, people like you and me, a lot of people right now in India, in tier 1 cities who have got, who went to schools with an English education background and all of that, we spend most of our time on Twitter. But the tier 2, tier 3 town users, they spend most of their time on platforms like TikTok in India. You might ask me why. So for you, like for us, knowledge makes us powerful. Like get a piece of information, which is an article or a video or anything that we want to share that we know, we put it out there on Twitter. We want justification, like the fear of missing out thing. We put it out there, people retweet it, we are happy that my information is shared by people. But for these users, entertainment makes them popular, if I can give you that analogy. Their social needs are very different from ours. So it's very important to understand what these users want. Another misconception that I've seen in the industry is that while you're building a product for new users, and I've heard this a lot, is, oh, we are building a product or a solution or a service for regional Indian users. Regional Indian users are dumb. They're not as smart as tier one users. No, they're not. Regional Indian users just do not know how to use your app or website. This creates a lot of difference. Your approach of building a product completely changes from building for a dumb person to build something for a smart person. The idea that I'm trying to do is understand your users, understand their mental models. They're very different from what you and I are, and build a simple product. Don't over-engineer the product. Build simple product because these are smart users. These are people, tier 2, tier 3 towns, more people in India in tier 2, tier 3 towns and beyond actually vote than people in tier 1 towns. The percentage of people who vote in cities are less. They are smart people over there. You build a simple product for them. You give them simple services and solutions from them. They will embrace your product. They will embrace your solutions. So the idea is to create a product, a simple product with simple features, which has network effects. See, there's a lot of gyan which is available online on how to build a product. You can do this, you can that. But there are very few product managers and founders I have met that I personally know that actually go out there, whether it's a B2B customer or it's a B2C customer, actually go out there to the hinterland India, sit with the users and talk to the users. What happens normally in many companies I've seen is there will be a person who will be in charge of user survey. Then there is another product manager who gets involved. So by the time the CEO of the company, the main founder of the company looks at these user surveys, it has already got filtered out a lot. So the kind of inference you're trying to make from that is very different from the kind of inference you'll actually make if you actually travel to these places and talk to the users, sit there with them, understand their behavior patterns, understand why and how they say certain things. And in between these lines, you'll be able to infer a lot of things. And that inference becomes a product feature. And that product feature helps you have network effects on your lines. So that's the thing. So when you talk to these users, when we as a community, when we talk to users, we leave all our preconceived notions in our mind back at our houses. The educated bias that we have, we leave all of that in our houses. Like, boss, this is what I know so far in my life based on my sense of education and my sense of working. Leave all of that and just go out and talk to these users, because what they will say and what they want, and what sometimes these people say a lot of things without realizing, these users without realizing, oh, this is my actual need subconsciously. So that is the line you need to take out, and that becomes a product. So that's one of the things. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Like, I've always been the biggest the penchant for, I've always said this for the longest time, like video is the king, video is the next big thing, we should be doing a lot of innovations on video. I have been happily proved wrong in so many occasions in the last 4 years by working with companies, by doing user research. Sure, internet is cheaper, video is available easily, you can download things easily, but here's the deal. Let me give you an example. In Tamil Nadu, around 1.5 years back in Tamil Nadu, I saw a very interesting thing. So where my last team in the last company, they went and talked to users over there, and there was a question of, okay, why are you sharing this and why are you sharing a video less compared to this article? They're like, my trust on this article is more. I'm like, why would you do that? Then the gentleman says, video though I can get from anywhere, sir, online, it's shareable, I can share, but I don't get trust in that, sir. I don't feel trust in that. And here's a gentleman, he's all 38 years of age, his wife, he's got a kid, he earns around 30 grand a month as a person over there. So for him, written form context still has a level of trust for him. So these are the inferences that you need to figure out while you're building a product, because what they need and what they want is completely different. It is not available on any analysis papers on the internet. So the idea is go out there, understand the needs, and have empathy for them without any bias, and you'll have a good product coming out.
Great, fantastic inputs, Aritra. So that's actually right that, there is a tendency due to whatever reasons to start thinking that probably the non-English users are not so smart. But the non-English are actually 95% of our
Yes.
country, maybe
Yes.
slightly less than that, but not significantly less than that. And we can't be thinking that 95% of our country's population is actually having non-smart people. They are
Yeah.
all Indians,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Indians are smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're quite right there. And the kind of perceptions that we have oftentimes comes from the fact that the people who are deciding for products for these users, they themselves come from a background where they have got introduced to computers, to internet, and to everything else through that medium and through English, and they themselves do not feel the pain of not using English at all. So yeah, that gap is there, which is probably solvable, like you mentioned, only by speaking to users and going out there.
Yeah,
That's
it's like I always say this. I mean, I'm not a product person, by the way. I've learned it in the last 1 year, in the last 1.5 years, I've learned it for some of these extremely intelligent people that I work with at local, like folks like my founder, Jani, or folks like some of the product managers that work with me. They're extremely intelligent. And after doing 13 years of journalism, I'm like, wow, this is how you build products. Why didn't I know this 4 years earlier, man? I would have done something else. But here's the thing, and this is one line that I always say to people without any bias in my life. I always say that, in India, build products without vanity, build products which are useful. You do that, you don't have to spend on anything else. Your network effects will happen, you'll get downloads, you'll get reach, everything happens there. The moment you remove the vanity part, a lot of things open up.
correct. Okay, so yeah, and so let's move on. I think the next question that I have is very logically to Sunil, because Sunil has been helping many different companies with localization, and so basically to be able to reach out to different populace that is non-English. So Sunil, what kind of opportunities does the Indian localization industry that foresees in the next few years? So what do you think?
Hi. Yeah, Vivek, thanks a lot. First of all, congratulations on the official launch of Prabandhak. I congratulate all the Reverie team, and thanks for hosting us today. Appreciate. Fidel, as you know, as you mentioned, that we are strong into language services. And from that perspective, let me harp on the topic that you mentioned. So basically, we see a lot of changes happening in India, Indian markets. One is the proliferation of smartphones, lowering of data pack costs, increasing availability of information in and growing aspirations. So I think all this combination, because of this, we see a lot of explosion in different industries, thereby creating a lot of opportunities. One clear-cut new type of work that we are seeing is the growth in the OTT, the channels, the regional channels, regional information, regional videos that we see. And because of that, video subtitling work is into explosion. So we see suddenly a lot of entertainment videos being serials being shown on these OTT channels. There are more than 40 channels currently in India, and some program that is in Tamil is suddenly a hit in say northern parts of India, because the subtitling etc. is done in Hindi, or the dubbing is in Hindi. Suddenly it goes. We see a lot of South Indian movies also hit in Maharashtra or in North India. So secondly, we see also a lot of growth in financial. So NBFCs, they have launched different lending applications. So suddenly we are seeing a spike in lending apps and translation or localization for that. Because of which, and due to these pandemic times, people are resorting for short-term lending, or maybe, and these apps are using AI and everything. But again, these are available now in local languages. So there we see a lot of translation requirements coming up. Of course, a new type of work we see is in all these autonomous cars and AI bots, which are trying to train their engines, AI engines, for which they require a lot of data set in local languages. So we see again a spike in this type of work, where data creation And for that, again, local languages, local people in different. So when we say local languages and local people, we typically go for localites in that region. So I'm a Marathi, but I'm staying in Japan for last 20 years. So my Marathi is no longer a local Marathi now because I've forgotten Parathi. So we try to look at Maharashtrians doing this work in Maharashtra. Same would be for Kerala or Tamil. But because of this, we see a lot of local regional jobs created in very remote areas. And again, they are getting paid almost as someone working in Chennai or in bigger cities. So I think a lot of these different areas are opening up. At the same time, I think as LSPs or technology companies, we need to create some lobby and reach out to different government bodies for some mandatory localization or translation for areas like finance, real estate, insurance, healthcare. Because I think, as even Arvind mentioned, these are fundamental information that is needed for the function of a democracy as well. So that each one of us understands well while signing up something. So in Japan, it is mandatory for organizations to sell financial products and to explain it in local language first. And then only that person can buy actually. So in India, many times insurance, when people are buying, and if these days because of Atal Pension Yojana, Jan Dhan accounts, a lot of people, even helpers, drivers, many times chowkidars, they are able to open up accounts and they want all these, they are aware of this insurance and different financial services. But that information, if available in local languages, that it will add again $1 billion new market for LSPs and translations, as well as create more facilitation for all underserved segments of the society. So I think in next few years, there's a lot of work. I think the ecosystem will get built, and we are also contributing to the same. Thanks.
Yeah, great, Sunil. That's actually correct. In fact, we have also been observing that there is a significant shift towards video localization, and in fact, there is a great gentleman. I'm unable to recall his name. He was British, who in fact first said that if you are watching videos, even if you are watching familiar with the language. But if you are watching the video that is subtitled in its own language itself, that helps you improve your command on that particular language. And of course, now that we are in such times where the consumption of video has increased phenomenally, there is a lot of video localization requests, and like you mentioned, there are so many other industries that actually need this and the tools that are going to help, because the growth of all these content conversion is being so phenomenally growing that it is not going to be possible for people to keep putting out such content in different languages all by themselves without really using a lot of tools. So that in fact brings me to a question to Harish. So Harish, what kind of qualifications do you really think are really important for a translator to be? Because when we are creating so much of content, we would all, as an industry, probably hope that we should get a lot of qualified people to be able to help this, an army of translators who are all very highly qualified, etc. That's the perception that people would probably have. So what qualification or qualities that would be required for a successful translator to be?
Thanks, Vivek. First of all, I want to thank all Reverie team to develop such an latest AI-powered translation management tool, and I also welcome all participants as well. As far as quality and qualifications are concerned, I first of all speak about quality, because quality matters most in this localization and translation industry. A translator is required to a lot of qualities, but some basic qualities are 4 qualities I would like to mention. First of all, a translator should be fluent with source language and target language. If he or she is a translator is not fluent in any of source and target language, and she cannot do justice with their translation. Second, a good translation is that if we use specific glossaries or specific context related glossaries in it. So a translator must be able to know domain specific glossary for use in translation. Third thing is subject matter. We actually these days lot of localization companies and lot of products are being there, launching their product, and very different kind of. We have engineering, just like Sunil, his name is Sunil. Sunil has told about that we are facing bots, robots, bots पर काम हो रहा है आजकल. तो उसके लिए हर तरह के अलग अलग सब्जेक्ट मैटर एक्सपर्ट और सब्जेक्ट रिलेटेड डोमेन स्पेसिफिक ट्रांसलेटर्स की जरूरत है. तो ट्रांसलेटर्स को अलग अलग डोमेन्स की नॉलेज भी, नए नए डोमेन्स की, जैसे अभी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एक नया डोमेन सामने आया है. तो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की रिलेटेड ग्लोसरी, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस क्या होता है, तो ट्रांसलेटर को इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में भी जानकारी होनी चाहिए. इसके अलावा जो फोर्थ और मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट चीज आज के दिन पे है, नॉलेज ऑफ कैट टूल्स. कैट टूल्स, अगर आपको लोकलाइजेशन और ट्रांसलेशन इंडस्ट्री में काम करना है तो आपको कैट टूल्स के बारे में जानकारी होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. अलग अलग तरह के कैट टूल्स मार्केट में अवेलेबल हैं और उन सब के बारे में थोड़ी थोड़ी हमें जानकारी होनी चाहिए. और जिस कंपनी के लिए, जिस प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए हमें काम करना है, तो उनका स्पेसिफिक कैट टूल्स होते हैं. बिकॉज कैट टूल्स पर अभी हम आगे बात करने वाले हैं कि किस तरीके से कैट टूल्स हमारी प्रोडक्टिविटी और एज अ LSP और एज अ ट्रांसलेटर किस तरीके से हमारी प्रोडक्टिविटी और क्वालिटी को एनहांस करेगा. अब इसके बाद मैं बात करूंगा कि क्वालिफिकेशन. अब एक मैं छोटी सी एक बात बताना चाहता हूँ कि as far as compared to Western translation world or Western world countries, localization and translation is not regarded as a full-time career despite a huge potential in India. Lot of means 99% I would say 99% people say, when I came across and talk with people, what are you doing? He said, I am doing a translation. So I asked their journey. So I am in accidentally in this field because I had no other work, and I was just Aritra said that I was a journalist before coming in this field, in localization field. So these days many journalists and many other peoples are coming in localization field and industry because of huge potential. But my say is that people in India, we should regard translation and localization as a full-time career opportunity. And for this, we have to launch many training programs for translators for domain-specific trainings. Second, just like CEO of Niti Aayog also said that Indian internet will survive only on Indian languages and will consume more and more Indian languages data. So सभी को अब इसमें काम करने के लिए अपनी अपनी क्वालिफिकेशन डेवलप करनी होगी. तो अगर मैं बात करूँ प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लिए क्या क्वालिफिकेशन चाहिए होती हैं, तो जैसे कि मैंने बताया कि क्वालिटी तो चाहिए होती है, उसके साथ साथ ग्रेजुएशन और पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन एक लैंग्वेज में हमारी होनी चाहिए. और उसके अलावा हमें एक जिस भी फील्ड के हमें ट्रांसलेशन करना है उसमें स्पेसिफिक नॉलेज चाहिए. अगर हम गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर के अंदर बात करें, गवर्नमेंट एक लोकलाइजेशन का और ट्रांसलेशन का इतना बड़ा डोमेन गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर के अंदर है जिसके बारे में अभी बहुत कम लोगों को नॉलेज है. गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर के अंदर एज अ परमानेंट जॉब, एज अ फ्रीलांसिंग एंड बहुत सारा वेबसाइट लोकलाइजेशन गवर्नमेंट के अंदर हो रहा है. मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम अफेयर्स का एक राजभाषा विभाग डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज है जिसने पूरी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को मैंडेट दिया है कि आप सभी वेबसाइट्स का ट्रांसलेशन आपको करवाना है. तो एक उसमें भी बहुत बड़ा ह्यूज पोटेंशियल है. तो ट्रांसलेटर को उसमें तैयार होने के लिए सबसे पहले, अगर मैं गवर्नमेंट एग्जाम्स की बात करूं, और मींस जो लोग एक्चुअली अभी एक स्टडी आया था स्लेटर की, एक स्टडी थी कि मोस्ट ऑफ द जितने भी इंडिया के अंदर ट्रांसलेटर हैं उनकी एज 25 से लेके 35, मीन्स ज़्यादा यंग लोग उसके अंदर अभी काम कर रहे हैं. मीन्स जो सीजन लोग हैं, जो मीन्स ओल्ड एज लोग हैं, वो अभी इसमें ज़्यादा काम नहीं कर रहे, बट यंग लोग ज़्यादा काम कर रहे हैं. तो उनको अपना एक करियर बनाने के लिए एक सिंपल ग्रेजुएशन एंड पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन इन ट्रांसलेशन और इन एनी लैंग्वेज और प्लस डिप्लोमा रिक्वायर्ड होता है इन सब क्वालिफिकेशन लेने के लिए. जी,
Thank you, Harish. So actually, ये तो this would be really very useful for all the attendees who are into translations. And in fact, I say that the knowledge of CAT tools or the tools that we have been using for translations had practically been not so mature for Indian language translation, and there is a lot that we were having to depend on the individual skill alone. Whereas to be able to improve translation speed, tools can actually do a lot of wonders. In fact, we are running slightly late. I have a couple of other questions that are very important. In fact, so I'll urge Aritra, you have to be a little quick on this one. So I want to understand what are the two big challenges in localization or in the context of localization that you have been facing, and how would you actually be what do you think would help in solving those?
All right. So I'll put out one rather than two. So which for me is the most important one and the most ignored one in India. It's the problem of we talk about now the last 3 years we've been talking about regional India, regional context, regional language companies, and all of that. But then there is a slight problem over there. There's a layer of problem just sitting out there. The problem is every Indian state has different needs. Every behavior of a person in Uttar Pradesh is very different from a behavior of a person in Bihar. The user needs of a person in Assam is very different from a person in Maharashtra. Completely different. So that is a big challenge especially for media companies like us. I mean, media companies are trying to give jobs, classifieds, as well as content for these local areas. So people in Uttar Pradesh do not like a type of content. People in Tamil Nadu like a type of content. People in one Indian state, without naming it, one of the user the service that we did, we realized that they like. So we depend a lot on a network of reporters. We have a massive network of reporters and freelancers we work with in India. So in one Indian state, the reporters told us we like voice input. The other Indian state, they told us we do not like voice input that much. We want to write the entire story and submit it on your platform. So simple things like that, but that makes a huge business case for companies like that. So what I'm trying to tell you is, we need to understand how and why is a person in one Indian state different from the other Indian state. In India, every 200 kilometers you travel, the need changes, the way of thinking changes. So that is actually a very, very important challenge. If you want to keep users coming back on your platform, like retention, you want to keep users coming back again and again and again, you need to cater to these slight contextual differences and needs of these users. Like I'll end it with a small example. Like if you go to Eastern UP for that matter, and this is, and I got this inference from a gentleman who runs an OTT platform in Bombay. I don't recollect the name. So around 2 years back, he told me he was running an OTT platform. He was trying to compete with people like Hotstar, people like Netflix in India, and even Amazon Prime. When the Amazon Prime and Hotstar had just started, Netflix for that matter, has just started putting in content for Indian users. And they decided to just do content for Bhojpuri users. And these guys had a lot of Hindi content on their platform. So my question to him was, so you might be getting a lot of users, Hindi users. Like, no, we actually are making money, I mean revenue, and the daily active users and monthly active users are actually because of these Bhojpuri folks. So, and they have these hoardings and they run ads in the eastern part of UP, which has borders with Bihar and all of that. Now, that belt of UP speaks Hindi very differently from the way we are speaking Hindi right now. So that's the thing. So that is a user case study. And how many Bhojpuri products are there in the market? There are 51 million Bhojpuri speakers in India. Isn't that a user set you want to build product for them? So that's what I'm trying to say. In India, we think you come to Karnataka, we think all Kannadigas are the same. They're not. I've got great Kannadiga friends. You go to North Karnataka, they speak differently. They want things differently. Their need is different. How is Kannadigas in North Karnataka same to Kannadigas in Bangalore? Two users completely. And two users, meaning two features. You can literally build two features for this user set. If you do the unit maths, unit economics over here, you have small sets of 10 million, 20 million people, then you can build for. And that's a great use case. And that means those users will never leave your platform. They'll keep coming back. Your retention scales will be high. So that's one thing, like different states, different user behavior, do not commonalize them. Build things different, tweak things differently in your product.
Yeah, actually, yes. So language is cultural and culture varies very rapidly. And with that, the vocabulary, accent, etc., many things they differ. And it's only by trying to get as close to that as possible, that you actually end up generating interest in the user and also being able to gain their trust. So in fact, so Sunil, what would be the top 2 challenges in your area of work? And given that the advanced translation tools are available for only European languages and not for Indian languages, so why do you think that such tools would be, why are they missing in for Indian languages? So what would be your inputs on this?
Thanks a lot. So I'll just separate this into 2 parts. One is the top 2 challenges as in localization, and then availability of tools. Sure. And I'll try to quickly share my thoughts. So as part of localization, I think standardization of language vocabulary or standardization of words across domains or Indian languages is there's much work to be done, I think, because meaning many times what happens is this result in, say, if I translate something, the reviewer sends it some. So if I translate say business loan, the reviewer will or vyavasayik karz, the reviewer will say, nahi, vyavasayik rin theek hai. So again, there is a lot of, and this again affects our SEO tweaking, searchability, indexing, or findability. So people are translating the website, but then they complain that our site is not found by the users. So there you have written or tweaked it, SEO'd for say vyavasayik rin perhaps, but the user is searching on business loan. So you have to see, because today a villager also knows business loan ke apply karna hai ya vyavasayik karz ke liye apply karna hai. So or you have the user reaches your website and then unable to find the product because you have tweaked it for fenugreek, but the user is searching for methi. Or you have tweaked it for jaggery, but nobody knows jaggery. I want to search for good or good. So this, how can we bring a kind of standardization where ultimately as service providers, of course, we can translate anything and we want to deliver everything. But as product design or as this thing, can we bring some standardization that will help the consumer ultimately and all people in the ecosystem? Second is the availability of professionals and infrastructure supporting them. So as rightly Harish mentioned, basically, again, we have a lot of work. But then when we try to go out and reach a professional, finding the professional, knowing a language and being a trained translator, again, there's a difference. I know Marathi, but I am not a trained translator. Correct. Yeah. So because then again, as that profession, you need to look at the time, you need to deliver on time, you need a certain infrastructure at your end, certain tools at your end. So for our retainers or people who work with us, we have funded the UPS for them or PC or CAT tools for them so that they don't have to invest upfront. And then, but we cannot do it for everyone. So again, how maybe NBFCs help them. But if the infrastructure is there, tomorrow again we can flood a lot of work again, across all these professions. So that's the 2 challenges that I see. So far, I think many foreign companies, despite having those tools, didn't come to India. Obviously, one is outside India, there is this misconception that most Indians know English. So that is also one thing that you don't require all this and so on. Second is many times they assume that you will not be able to afford this. So they don't even if I go to ask for a quote, they'll say, "Arey, shayad aapko ye jamega nahi," or whatever. So that is one thing. And of course, availability and scale. At the same time, not many Indian companies thought of investing or developing this, like Reverie or maybe our Linguasol or Fidel, because ultimately it takes a lot of efforts, domain experience, knowledge about different scripts and fonts, even in Prabandhak and this thing, developing this Jodakshar in different Indian languages. I think so. All these complexities make it very difficult to develop something on our own. It's not easy. So I think I commend Reverie for coming up with this platform as well. So I think, but given the market today, a lot of emphasis on productivity, speed, consistency, and so all these tools will lead to a better infrastructure, and at least some problems will be solved in future. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, yeah, you have nailed it, Sunil. You have mentioned quite a lot of really important problems that even we have come across multiple times, not just from you, but from several other people, and in our own experience as well, that yes, getting access to really good translators on time and when you really have the need to, right? So suddenly you have a large project to be able to do, or large amount of content to translate. Where would you find them, and how would you be able to make sure that the translation quality is good and consistent and so on? So in fact, so since Harish has been in this industry, Harish, you should probably be able to tell us a little more about, what as a translator you feel as the two most important challenges that you face right now.
As translator in this localization industry, rightly said by Sunil sir and Vivek ji, you are that सबसे पहले कि एक जो स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन ऑफ स्टाइल गाइड्स मींस एक बेसिक स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन ऑफ स्टाइल गाइड्स फॉर लोकलाइजेशन इंडस्ट्री सभी कंपनीज को, सभी एलएसपीज को बैठकर एक बना लेना चाहिए। जैसे भारत सरकार ने एक पर्टिकुलर एक गाइडलाइन बनाई हुई है कि ट्रांसलेशन ऐसे होना चाहिए, ऐसे होना चाहिए। इसी तरीके से प्राइवेट सेक्टर, लोकलाइजेशन सेक्टर को भी अपना बैठकर एक स्टाइल गाइड प्रॉपर डेवलप कर लेनी चाहिए, ताकि अब एज अ ट्रांसलेटर हमें क्या होता है कि जैसे सुनील जी ने बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल दिया, अभी थोड़े दिन पहले भी मैंने इसी एग्जांपल से मतलब कि सामना किया था कि जैसे बिजनेस लोन है। अब बिजनेस लोन के लिए कोई लिखता है कारोबारी कर्ज लिखता है, कोई लिखता है व्यावसायिक लिखता है, कोई कहता है इसको बिजनेस ऋण लिखिए। तो वो एक ट्रांसलेटर ने सपोज एक कंपनी में काम किया एज अ फ्रीलांसर, किसी कंपनी ने कहा कि आप बिजनेस लोन लिख दीजिए, ठीक है। अब दूसरे वाले ने कहा कि कारोबारी कर्ज लिख दीजिए। अब ट्रांसलेटर क्या करेगा कि एक कंपनी से उसको एप्रिसिएशन मिल गया, दूसरी कंपनी ने उसके पैसे काट लिए कि भाई आपने हमारी क्या कहते हैं वो कर दिया। फिर उस पर क्या होता है कि कंपनी और रिव्यूअर के बीच में आर्बिट्रेशन होता है, फिर वो सब बड़ा एक प्रोसेस लंबा हो जाता है। और दूसरा विवेक सर ने बोला दूसरा बड़ा चैलेंज है एज अ ट्रांसलेटर कि एक प्रॉपर एक मार्केट प्लेस नहीं है जहाँ पर एक फ्रीलांस ट्रांसलेटर एक काम ढूंढ सके। जैसे कि विवेक जी ने बताया कि हमें कोई प्रोजेक्ट जब करवाना होता है, बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट, तो एक राइट काइंड ऑफ ट्रांसलेटर मींस एक प्रॉपर अच्छा ट्रांसलेटर ढूंढने में हमें काफ़ी मतलब कि वो कुश्ती लड़नी पड़ती है एक तरह से, अगर हम कहें तो बहुत सर्च करना पड़ता है, हमें अपने कॉन्टेक्ट में ढूंढना पड़ता है। इसी तरीके से एक ट्रांसलेटर, अगर नॉर्मल ट्रांसलेटर जो थोड़ा बहुत कम अवेयर है इस इंडस्ट्री के बारे में, तो बिगनर्स के लिए एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म होना चाहिए कि जहाँ पर सभी मींस क्वालिफाइड ट्रांसलेटर्स को एक जगह पर अपनी अपनी क्वालिफिकेशन के हिसाब से, अपने अपने टाइम के हिसाब से जॉब मिल सके। और मुझे लगता है कि इस टूल में मार्केट प्लेस नाम का एक शायद आपने एक फीचर भी बनाया है प्रबंधक में। तो जी मैं इसको रिव्यू कर रहा था तो मैंने देखा था, तो ये बहुत अच्छा है, मैं इसके लिए शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ।
ओके, थैंक यू हरीश। सो वैसे एक कैट टूल, मतलब जो सुनील ने कहा कैट टूल सारे ट्रांसलेटर्स जान लेना चाहिए, उनको यूज करना चाहिए, तुमने भी कहा। तो उसमें व्हाट फीचर्स दैट यू वुड वांट दैट द कैट टूल शुड हैव, टू मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर्स इफ यू कैन नेम देम।
कैट टूल, देखो सबसे पहले कैट टूल का इंपॉर्टेंस क्या होता है कि कंपनी और फ्रीलांसर्स या कंपनी और ट्रांसलेटर, एलएसपी या कोई भी वेंडर है, उसको और ट्रांसलेटर दोनों को कैट टूल से फ़ायदा होता है। फ़ायदे क्या होते हैं वो सबको हमें पता है कि एक तो हमारी स्पीड बढ़ती है, और हम कहीं पर भी बैठ के, जैसे अब कोविड-19 चल रहा है, तो मैं आपको एक बताना चाहूँगा कि सभी इंडस्ट्रीज इस कोविड-19 के दौरान मतलब कि उस पर इफेक्ट पड़ा है। बट ट्रांसलेशन एक इंडस्ट्री ऐसी है, लोकलाइजेशन एक इंडस्ट्री ऐसी है, क्योंकि उनको काम तो घर पर बैठ के लैपटॉप पे ही करना होता है और सब इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर लैपटॉप पर ही अवेलेबल है। तो उसमें ट्रांसलेशन के वर्क फ्लो में कभी भी कोई मतलब कि अभी तक वो नहीं आई है, मीन्स इंटरप्शन नहीं आया है कोविड-19 के चलते हुए। और मैं तो ये कहूँगा, मैंने इस कोविड-19 के सीजन में ट्रांसलेशन इंडस्ट्री को और बढ़ते हुए देखा है। जितना भी कोविड का डॉक्यूमेंट है और अलग अलग जितना भी ये ई लर्निंग अब एक बहुत बड़ा पुश मिला है, इसके लिए बहुत बड़ी डिमांड मार्केट में जनरेट हो गई है। तो उनके लिए भी एक हमें टूल की ज़रूरत थी जो कि रेवरी ने बनाया है। तो उसमें सबसे पहले एक तो क्लाउड एनवायरनमेंट पे हमारा कैट टूल होना चाहिए, जो कि बहुत रियली इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आज सपोज मैं आज घर से वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर रहा हूँ और कल मुझे जाकर ऑफिस करना पड़े, तो अपने कंप्यूटर से मुझे डाटा इधर उधर ना ले जाना पड़े, उसे इंस्टॉल ना करना पड़े, सिर्फ एक क्लिक किया हमने और वो वहाँ जाकर आपके क्लाउड में सारी चीज़ें आपकी सेव रहेंगी। इसके अलावा और एक दूसरा है कि QA जो क्वालिटी एनालिसिस टूल होता है उसके अंदर, वो हमेशा एक बिल्ट उसके अंदर अच्छा बिल्ट होना चाहिए, ताकि होता है कि जब हमारे पास लार्ज क्वांटिटी में अगर काम आता है, एज अ ट्रांसलेटर अगर मैं बात करूँ, तो अगर हम काम करते करते तो कुछ ओवरसाइट होना एक ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी है। तो QA रन करके या क्वालिटी एनालिसिस रन करके हम उसको बहुत अच्छे तरीके से ढूंढ सकते हैं। तो एक कैट टूल के अंदर ये भी होना चाहिए, और एक प्रूफ रीडिंग का टूल उसके अंदर बहुत ज़रूरी है। अभी मैंने बहुत सारे टूल्स पर काम किया है, बट किसी भी टूल के अंदर मैंने अभी तक स्पेल चेकर, एक अच्छा स्पेल चेकर हिंदी और इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस के लिए उसमें नहीं देखा है। और इसके अलावा बहुत सारे जो इंडियन लैंग्वेज के ट्रांसलेटर्स होते हैं उनको एक वर्चुअल कीबोर्ड उसके अंदर मिलना चाहिए अपना, कि वो किसी भी कीबोर्ड से टाइप, सपोज मराठी भाषा का किसी को ट्रांसलेशन करना है तो सीधा वो मराठी में टाइप कर सके, या एसएमईज के अंदर कर सके, तमिल, तेलुगु, हिंदी। तो ये सब चीज़ें एक अच्छे कैट टूल में होनी चाहिए। वैसे तो बहुत सारे फीचर्स मैं बता सकता हूँ, लेकिन हमारे पास टाइम की
हाँ, मैं सिर्फ इंटरेस्टेड था कि दो सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट अगर आप बोल सके, लेकिन आपने काफी एकदम बहुत ही पर्टिनेंट फीचर्स के बारे में बताया। सो थैंक यू सो मच। इनफैक्ट वी शुड मूव ऑन फ्रॉम हियर, बिकॉज I know that most of the attendees who are here are actually looking forward to see the product, and we have spoken so much about the problems that are there with the industry and what we are trying to solve. But what we saw are very interesting perspectives indeed. And though I am unlikely to run out of questions, we have a time limit and we have actually exceeded that. But thanks a lot for being on this panel, Harish, Aritra, Sunil. I have enjoyed this discussion and the thoughts that you shared. I'm sure the audience must be having a lot of questions also. I would actually urge the audience to continue sharing your questions on the Q&A chat. We do not have, so we have our QA time towards the end of this session. And in the meanwhile, the panelists as well as the other members out here, they will continue to answer your questions through the chat. And at the end, we may take certain questions which cannot be answered on chat or otherwise, or through voice as well. But to save all of us time, so please keep on writing your questions, and those you will mostly find answers coming from someone or the other. If we are unable to answer, we will try answering you over email some other time. Okay, so I also urge the panelists, आप लोग प्लीज रुकिए थोड़ी देर, प्लीज स्टे बैक एंड लुक एट द प्रोडक्ट डेमो. आई एम श्योर यू विल फाइंड इट वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. It absolutely we discussed quite a few intriguing challenges now, and those that are bothering the translation needs. And Prabandhak, which is the product that we will be launching today, attempts to address most of them, if not all. And Prabandhak attempts to improve the speed and quality of translations through a lot of automated tools specifically developed for our languages by us at Reverie. And they also have been done by taking inputs from people like you. So let me tell a little bit about the Prabandhak's background itself. So we created Prabandhak after a lot of hard work for several years, but the start of that effort has been very interesting. I won't be able to put a point to the beginning when we decided or started work on this particular tool. But we wanted to help the industry by creating machine translation to begin with. Because when we started Reverie, we were very interested that the content industry should be able to create and help content with our languages. So and that's the need that we saw. So we thought the translation industry and the content creation industry requires good quality tools, and so a machine translation will probably be the handiest tool for the translators and content creators. So as we released that, we realized that the need to deal with entities, phrases, अभी हमने जैसे कहा कि अगर फोन लिखा है तो फोन कहना चाहिए या उसको दूरभाष कहें, right? Those sort of efforts have all been done in the past. The consistency of translations, suppose somewhere it is written Corporation of India or Indian Corporation, so ye two different ways of writing, so whether we are supposed to Bharat ka ya Bharatiya. So the consistency of translations and those are very critical. So we tried to create a tool that can manage all of that. And then when we were doing that, we discovered that the vocabulary consistency, spellings, grammars, formats, so many file formats are there. So those were all the problems that the translators are working very hard to be able to maintain consistency. Like Harish also mentioned, let us say if you end up getting a 1,000-page document to translate, and if you have to divide that between translators, or even if one expert translator is trying to do that, maybe their consistency will change over time, because sometime one is in a good mood, sometime in a not that bubbly a mood, maybe, so and so on. So consistency and quality check, etc. So we wanted to help with those as well, and so on and on it went till it took us years, and it ended up evolving the first such tool that has almost all our sweat to help our languages and our translation. So that is all. But before I end, I have just one more minute to mention something that I always mention. I always mention this in every opportunity to speak, that almost all the countries in the world with great advances that have happened, they have examples of brilliant geniuses who have made those countries great. But many of these geniuses actually never went to universities. Many geniuses are actually school dropouts all over the world, but they continue to learn by studying by themselves. मान लो स्कूल में आधा पढ़ाई करके वो जब बाहर निकल जाते हैं, पढ़ना लिखना तो सीख के होते हैं. So how do they do that? They learn by themselves the matters of their interest and end up making great creations eventually in their lives. It's only in countries like ours, where 95% of the people are written off from the access to any knowledge only because they could not learn English very well. So creating knowledge, and either by writing or by translating, is one of the greatest service that we will actually be doing to our country, and digital medium is probably our last chance. So for me, the people who are working in this industry, it's my salute to them, and this product I hope will definitely be very useful to you. So over to Rajesh. Please carry on with the rest of our program. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Vivek, and all the panelists for that wonderful discussion. Am I audible?
Yes,
right.
Rajesh.
All right, I had a blip here on my screen. Now to give you more perspective, let me introduce Vinay Raj. Vinay is a localization enthusiast with over 12 years of deep domain expertise in the localization industry across multiple areas. Vinay was the CEO and Group Vice President for one of the largest and oldest LSPs in India. And his experiences have been instrumental in developing many key features of Prabandhak. Today, he'll be giving you an overview of the product. So Vinay, over to you.
Thank you, Rajesh. So namaskara and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Prabandhak launch. So quickly, I will share my screen. So Prabandhak, when it comes to Prabandhak is a unique cloud-based AI-powered translation management hub. Gives access to translate, manage, and scale. So this will help organization to work, automate, accelerate, and process, and helps to manage your multilingual content localization. With our collective industry experience, notice
Vinay, we are not able to see your screen. Can you please project?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, we got it now. Thank you, Vinay.
Okay. So with our collective industry experience, we noticed 3 existing market problems related to localization industry. So Indian translation industry functions in an unorganized and unaffiliated nature, which creates customer confusion. Turnaround time, cost, and quality are the 3 major factors of unpredictability affecting the Indian language localization industry. In the absence of limited use or the technology, so Indian translation industry is not able to grow in terms of business size, delivery timelines, and players involved. So what's our solutions? So Prabandhak Translation Management Hub brings transparency and clarity to all the stakeholders via a clear dashboard, resource management, and workflow management on one platform. So Prabandhak's inbuilt CAD tool and neural machine translation minimizes project turnaround time, cost, and improves the quality. So Prabandhak AI-powered platform empowers Indian translators and business to grow rapidly by helping them to get more scale projects and large scale projects via inbuilt marketplace. So currently, Prabandhak supports 11 Indian languages, so which are Hindi, Bengali, Punjabi, Tamil, Assamese, Gujarati, Marathi, Telugu, Malayalam, Odia, and Kannada. So Prabandhak supports 35 formats. The major formats, which includes Word, Excel, PPT, HTML, XML, and editable PDFs. So when it comes to the product features, so Prabandhak Translation Management Hub automates the translation projects and eliminates the repetitive and the laborious manual tasks while enabling and controlling then deliver the great efficiency. You can build your own organization by creating clients, project managers, delivery managers, translators, proofreaders or QAs, and give user-specific access. It will give access to define KPIs and even the track productivity. So Prabandhak user-specific dashboards give power visibility of project status and enables multiple contributors to work simultaneously on the same project. The role-based delegations and real-time progress visibility. So Marketplace give access to apply and outsource project, give clarity on translation capability, quality, and cost related to LSPs and the freelancers to hire them. Reusable translation memory ensures not spend energy on repeated segments and build master TMs on its own without any human intervention. So, and it will auto apply the same whenever you create the new project. So avoid SL-free converting the file formats. This will help to keep formatting identical to the source. With this, no need to spend time and money on DTP. As I mentioned, Prabandhak supports 30 file formats and no more DTP. So when it comes to the CAD tool, so it's a single window editing environment will enhance your translation speed and give access to use the TM suggestions. This comes with embedded Reverie keyboards and typing suggestions. The most reliable Reverie NMT suggestions with an option to build your personal NMT engine that adapts your style and translation and predicts more accurately for you. Our NMT supports all 11 Indian languages, which includes Assamese and Odia, which no MT provider supports as on today. This will help you to supercharge your translation speed up to 4 times. So maintain accuracy and accelerate your translation speed with our inbuilt Indic spell checker and dictionary. This is a unique feature no other CAD tool have for Indian languages. We are humans and make mistakes, like while translating 2.0, sometimes we miss out and the point and it will become 20. Sometimes we miss some words, sometimes we miss some segments, or unknowingly we give the double space while typing fast. Our QA and QC feature check the translations and alert you to correct the same. This will help you to deliver the translation projects without numerical errors, omissions, typo errors, and common human errors while translation. So how it will be benefit? So what is the basic question is, what is there for me? For translators, Prabandhak will give access to marketplace for more projects, helps to increase the productivity and reduce the delivery times. This helps you to enhance your new project flow and revenue. So for LSPs, so reduce the manual efforts by automating the project management, resource management, and real-time tracking, and keeps a tab on productivity. So Prabandhak will give access to marketplace. This helps in 2 ways. So first, you will get access to more projects through marketplace. The second, you will get access to the freelance translator base. So outsource and get your projects done easily. This will help to grow top line significantly. In terms of enterprise, give you an access to select reliable translation partner, real-time project tracking, get the high volume projects done quickly, and high quality translation within your budget and within your tag. When it comes to commercial aspect, we build the commercials, understanding the need. So Prabandhak is an yearly subscription product, comes with the basic rate points. It will give option to select number of licenses and number of language page. After the basic credit utilization, you can go ahead with pay-per-use model. So for more information, you can visit www.reveryinc.com/Prabandhak. Please feel free to share your questions and we will answer at the end of this session. Dhanyavad and thank you all. Over to you, Rajesh.
Thank you so much, Vinay, for that presentation. Now we have a small AV which we'll be playing. So, Amit, can I please request you to cue the AV in?
This is Rajiv. His company requires a huge volume of content to be translated in multiple Indian languages. He found many language service providers and freelancers, but he was too confused to choose the best one for himself. LSPs are also facing challenges to complete this high volume of work as per clients' expectations. Rajiv found Prabandhak, a collaborative platform where he posted his requirements. The platform gave him access to the translation management system and marketplace that helped him choose qualified LSPs and freelancers. He selected a reputed LSP run by Anand that matched all his localization expectations related to turnaround time, cost, and quality. On getting the project, Anand automated the localization workflow, resource management, terminology management, and real-time project tracking on Prabandhak. Both Rajiv and Anand could see the project progress on a real-time basis. Later, Anand noticed that there was no progress happening on Gujarati translation. Also, the translator had become non-responsive. Anand quickly posted the project on the marketplace and selected another qualified translator, Hetal. Prabandhak's unique features like computer-assisted translation tool, neural machine translation, translation memory, and automated quality checks helped her increase the translation speed by up to 4 times. This in turn allowed Hetal to deliver high-volume projects before the due date. The platform also helped her win more projects and led to increase in her income. Prabandhak's real-time collaboration hub and auto-recompile of files facilitated Anand to reduce his effort by 80%. Thus, Anand delivered the project to Rajiv earlier than promised. So, whether you own an enterprise or you are a language service provider or a freelance translator, Prabandhak is the right platform for you, perfectly designed to meet all your Indian language localization needs. Visit now and get started. www.reveryinc.com/Prabandhak.
Thank you so much for that, Amit. While this AV was playing, I thought of another unique trait of Indians, and we did talk about consistency. I'm sure all of you would have heard this question many a times when you bought a new model of a car or a bike. Kitna deti hai? Mileage, right? Why? Because we Indians believe in saving as much as we can. We are cost conscious, right? So another big feature of Prabandhak is it helps in saving costs. So to take the conversation further, let me bring in Siddharth, who's the tech lead for this platform. And he'll take you through a short demonstration. Siddharth, over to you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Namaskar to everyone. Thank you for joining us in the product launch for Prabandhak. We here at Reverie have dedicated almost a decade of research and development in developing tools and technologies for Indic computing. Now I get reminded of a beautiful saying in Hindi, which goes like "Kos kos pe badle pani, dhai kos pe vani," which is a clear depiction, and it could not be more appropriate about the diversity that exists within our country. Now, as we at Reverie march towards the vision of achieving language equality on the internet, we consider it as our responsibility to solve the problems that dwell in the Indian translation services industry. So here we are with India's first AI-powered translation management hub, Prabandhak, which is basically an amalgamation of all the Indic computing tools and technologies that we have developed over the years. So I'll quickly start off with the demo. I'll be sharing my screen now. I hope everyone remembers the three users that are present in front of you from the video that we played before this. So in today's demo, we'll be going through three user personas and the key features associated with each of these user types to demonstrate a seamless localization workflow. Now, here you can see that the three users that are in front of me here, Rajiv is actually a business owner looking for getting his content localized. So let us see what Prabandhak has in store for Mr. Rajiv. Now, Prabandhak provides a holistic dashboard for tracking all the activities across all the projects in one single screen. As you can see here, that I'm getting an overview of my delayed, unpublished, signed off, and in progress projects. We have also bucketed these projects into two types. One is the in-house projects and the outsourced projects, which basically represent the projects that are published on the marketplace. We have a neat project progress report, which shows you the real-time progress across the projects, along with an activity log that clearly depicts the activity across languages, across all projects on the platform. Moving on to the next feature, which is basically from where the entire thing starts, that is creating a project. So creating a project is as simple as filling up this small form and uploading your files to get started. We have neatly arranged all the projects into two buckets, like I was speaking earlier, that is the in-house project and the outsourced projects. For extensive project management and a much more detailed view of the projects, we also have project-specific dashboards. So let's just have a look at how the project-specific dashboards look like. Now, in the project-specific dashboards, you get the entire overview of what was the source word count, how many unique word counts are there, what is the current speed and when it was published, and what is the time left for the deadline. All these things all visible at one point. Moving down, we have got a couple of different statistics that are associated with this project. There is language-wise progress as well. Now, one of the major challenges that we discussed even in the panel discussion was hiring the right vendors or the service providers for your translation project. So with the marketplace intact, adding or hiring vendors like LSPs or freelancers into your project is as simple as just selecting the language for which you are looking translators and the service for which you are looking for the translators. Now, if we have also provided a search here, so let's say if I just type in Anand, so you can see that I can see that Anand is online, and I can also go through his rate chart where the per word translation cost and everything is visible, along with the mobile number for additional communication. So along with this, basically these are the key features that are there for any business owner who wants to publish their project on the marketplace and get started with their localization. Now, moving on to the language service provider account, which is Mr. Anand, let's see what Prabandhak has in store for them. Now, you can see that the LSPs also get dashboards, project creation, project management, all these features like we discussed in the previous account. So apart from that, what Prabandhak provides every LSP account with is a seamless project management system in which you can onboard your project managers, your associate translators, along with your delivery managers, and you can assign and allocate different projects to your project managers and your associates as well. Prabandhak also provides you with the facility to create clients where you can actually fill in all the necessary information regarding your clients, so that you can use that information in organizing your projects client-wise and in a much more organized way. There are a couple of other features that are also present with the business account and the LSP account, and also the freelancer account, like translation memory, glossary, and a couple of other features as well. But since we will be having subsequent webinars for each of these profiles separately, so we will be going in depth about these features in those webinars. Now, moving on quickly to the freelancer account, which is Hetal. Now, she also has similar features like dashboard, project creation, project management, and along with that, the LSPs and the freelancers also get access to marketplace. I think one of the challenges that was discussed in the panel meeting was there is no single platform in India where freelancers or LSPs can scout for translation jobs. So in Prabandhak, we have facilitated a marketplace where people can actually come and look at the projects that are published on the marketplace, and they can even apply. As you can see here that from this account, I have already applied for this particular project. And if the project owner finds Hetal suitable for this project, then they can very well invite them into the project. Apart from that, these other features, like I said, we will be discussing in our webinars. Now, moving on to one of the most important part of our tool, which was being discussed extensively in the panel discussion, was the CAT tool. Now, for the people who do not know what a CAT tool is, for their understanding, CAT tool basically represents computer assisted translation tools. So I'll be just showcasing the CAT tool for one of the files that are uploaded right now. So let's say we go to Hindi. So now here you can see, so this entire screen basically represents our CAT tool. I'll be just maximizing my screen for a better view. Okay, so here we can see that the CAT tool has a nifty widget that shows you how many unconfirmed segments are there, how many confirmed segments are there, and what is the total word count that you're supposed to do. Here in the left side, you can see that we have the list of neatly segmented source sentences. So what Prabandhak actually does when it processes a file is it intelligently segregates paragraphs into perfect segments, so that while translating, the user does not have to look at multiple at the entire paragraph while translating. So so in order to enable more focus to the translators, we have implemented segmentation. Let's go to one of the empty segments so that we can show how the translations can be carried out. Before that, just one important detail, like I think my colleague Vinay was mentioning, that people miss out on points and people miss out on factual data like URLs, numbers. If they mess that up, then the entire information that is being carried in the source sentence will never reflect in the translated segments. So in Prabandhak, what we have done is intelligent named entity recognition, because of which you can see that the digits appear as tags and not text. So if I go here, then you can see that the other features that help the translators translate in a much better way is the assistance of machine translation. We have two kinds of machine translation outputs right now. One is the generic model, and the other one is basically the one that adapts as you keep on translating. Although it adapts to your style after a huge volume of translation, but yes, it is basically a learning model that we have implemented in Prabandhak. Now you can see that for this particular segment there is no translation memory match, but we will visit that on some already done segments in my walkthrough further. So quality check was also one of the features that was being discussed in the panel discussion, and I would like to demonstrate that a little bit here. So as you can see that it contains 4 critical warnings. So let's say I want to use the NMT suggestion. So it's not entirely about clicking anywhere or having to use your mouse, because we have also built keyboard shortcuts inside the application itself, so that you can quickly click on Alt +1 or 2 in order to get the machine translation output here. Now you can see here that it still shows me critical warnings. So let's say I tag it here, and we need to also change this one. So 0.28 and 1000. So right now you can see that here what the translation warnings that are there is the critical warnings are gone. And to confirm this particular segment, I'll just press Control and Enter, and I move on to the next one. Now the QA in a lot of other tools, a lot of other CAT tools that are present, they are not really tuned towards Indian languages. I'll give you a small example, like this particular source segment. I'll just be zooming it so that we can have a better view. Like you can see in this particular source segment, we have 2 commas and 1 full stop. Now, what in many Indian languages, we actually do not use full stop. We actually use Purna Viram. So our Indic QA is actually also cognizant about the facts or the nuances that are there in Indian languages, where most tools would give you a false positive in terms of error. If you use Purna Viram in Prabandhak, it will never throw you an error. So let's use one of the other machine translation outputs. Like you can see that here there is a Purna Viram, but the quality check is already passed. If I use dot, that also works. So these are basically some of the QA enhancements that we have done in our product so that it supports all the Indian languages. Now, coming to one of the other features is the panel discussion also went in the direction of having a virtual keyboard or a typing tool inside the application. So what we have done is we have enabled our phonetic typing widget Swalik inside Prabandhak, so that if you want to type anything in your language, then you do not need to install any external extension or keyboards on your desktop. It is all inbuilt inside the app. As you can see that the entire the typing support is completely inbuilt, and like you can type with ease. As I was typing, you could see that this particular spell checker just vibrated, just notifying that whom with an anusar is actually not the correct word. So if I just select this, then the spell checker actually does not throw any error. So apart from spell checker, we also have an inbuilt dictionary. The dictionary basically provides you with meanings and different senses in which people can use the terms. And apart from that, there are punctuations as well, so that all the punctuations that are used in the source sentences are there in handy, are available handy, so that you can directly use them on a clicks effect. Now, with all of these done, there are a lot of other features as well, which we will be going through, as I was saying that in the subsequent webinars, which will be focused completely on each user profile. We will be going through more detailed descriptions and feature elaborations. Now, by this point, we have actually seen how a project gets created, how it gets managed, how it gets allocated, and how the translation is being carried out on our platform in different file types. Now, Prabandhak has a support for 30 file types. So the last stage of any translation project is basically the delivery, where at least 40% of the total time is being consumed right now is the DTP, or the complete retention of styling and formatting from the source document to the translated documents. So in order to showcase that, I already have a previously translated document that I will be showing you. So moving on to the final part of our demo. This is basically a generic HTML that got translated inside Prabandhak. And as you can see that this entire HTML with its icons and font styles and links, all of those things are preserved in Prabandhak. So these three parts are basically not translated right now. That is why they appear in English. The rest of the things that appear are actually translated from English to Tamil. And so there was no manual effort in creating any of the stylings or formatting changes, nothing. So the entire thing and entire process is automated. So this is the value that Prabandhak brings onto the table. And so that would be it from my side. I hope that you like the demo and will be interested in checking out our product. Now over to Rajesh to continue the event further.
Thank you, Siddharth, for taking us through the platform and marketplace. Amit, can you please share the Prabandhak website's URL with the audience in the chat box in case if they have any questions or if they want to browse through it, they can do so. And I'll go ahead and open the session for Q&A. Please, anybody who has their queries, go to the Q&A tab and you can post your questions there, and I'll pick them up from that place. All right, I see a lot of questions have already been answered. Picking up the first question, how to know the freelance translators on Prabandhaks are certified translators? For those who are registering as freelancer at Prabandhak, are you giving any test for certification? Vinay, would you take that, please?
Thank you, Rajesh. Yeah, anybody who is registering with Prabandhak as a freelancer or LSP, so we definitely conduct a test. And after that, so we will mark their translation quality and productivity per day. According to that, we will project it in the marketplace.
Sure. The next question is my data in Prabandhak platform secure, and where can I find the available pricing plans? Do you offer pricing plans suitable for my organization? Vinay?
Yeah, the data is always secure. So it's a cloud-based environment. So your data is only with you, not with anybody else. And you can find the pricing and other things on www.prabandhak.prabandhak, so which is already mentioned in the chat box. So you can go to that and check for that.
We have a question with regards to our fonts. Are these fonts online media portal friendly? Sometimes media claims that these fonts and files are not compatible to the portal. Siddharth, would you take that, please?
Yes. So basically, the platform uses Unicode fonts, and if any web platform is compatible with Unicode, then these our entire translations can be directly used there.
There's another question. I believe you have answered this. Does it allow to do in-script typing, Siddharth?
Yes. So I think because we had a very small time for the demo, I just showed the phonetic typing. But along with the phonetic typing, we actually have an in-script keyboard. And we are also trying to evolve our virtual keyboard into a patented layout, which actually the translators will definitely find a much more will definitely find much more user friendly when we release it. But as of now, to answer the question, yes, we do have an in-script keyboard already, and we will be enhancing the design for additional UX benefits as well.
Vinay, this one seems to be for you. एक सवाल है, क्या इसमें voice typing भी संभव है?
The voice typing, we are working on it, so it will be available in the next module. So soon we will launch that in next quarter or so. It's on our road now.
Sure. This question seems to be from one of the LSPs. How will the Prabandhak marketplace benefit my translation organization? Siddharth, you want to take that?
Sure. So apart from getting your entire organization into a digital medium, like I was showing, that you can actually create your own clients You can onboard your project managers, your associates, your delivery managers, all of them into one single platform, and you can actually allocate projects to each of these users. So it definitely gives you a good sense of project management. And apart from that, if you are talking about, if we talk about revenue, then the marketplace projects that are published by multiple clients who are actually looking for localization, you can directly apply for those projects and get exposure to a lot more projects than you're having now.
If we have our own pool of resources, and I'm assuming this means translators, if we have our own pool of resources, can we still use them with the help of this tool, or we'll have to select it only via marketplace?
No, so like I think the previous question I had covered that you can onboard all your translators and associates into the platform and use them for your in-house projects.
There is a question on somebody wanting to integrate their existing translation memory from another tool to Prabandhak. Will we support this integration? Vinay, would you take that?
Yeah, you can integrate your existing translation memory with Prabandhak if it is there on the TMX format. So definitely you can integrate both the translation memory and the translation base, the glossaries also.
Will the Prabandhak support team process payments for completing the translation projects in marketplace?
The marketplace is built such that there is no intervention between the client and the LSP or the freelancer for the marketplace project. So Revry will not intermediate in that. So you will get the payments directly from the clients or the LSPs, whoever posted and wherever you have agreed to work on it.
Next question, I am not very clear, Vinay, so I'm going to direct it to you. Can I integrate the existing term-based application with Prabandhak?
Yeah, term-based is nothing but the glossary. Yes, you can integrate with Prabandhak.
Okay. All right, just allow me a second. Questions, I think I've gone backwards. Can I directly call XML file to Prabandhak and translate? Siddharth.
I actually missed the question. Can you repeat that, please?
Can I directly call XML file to Prabandhak and translate?
Yes. So we do have support for XML files as well. I think one of the other questions that I'd seen was also regarding string files for multiple languages and for mobile applications. So string files are also supported on Prabandhak.
Okay. I am a freelance translator. Then how? If I am a freelance translator, then how the delivery works? Not sure, Vinay, if I could understand the question correctly. I'll repeat again. If I'm freelance translator, then how the delivery works?
Okay, so it is not like a manual interaction between your client or the LSP, like through the emails or through the phone calls or something like that. Once you complete your project, so you just need to click a sign off button. So automatically it will alert to the project creator. So he will download the files and he will sign off the project from their end. So it will alert you telling that the project is done.
This is an interesting one. Mithun, this probably it'll be good if you can take this. How can a government organization give you projects? Government has to go through GEM for any purchases.
So interestingly, Rajesh, we are going to shortly get listed on GEM, and otherwise as well, we are already a registered vendor on GEM, where our translation tool-based translation services are available for purchase. So we are already working with a lot of government agencies, and we don't see any challenge in working with government companies and departments.
Good to know that, Mithun. Thank you. I'm an individual translator. Sometimes I get job that demands TTF fonts and not Unicode fonts. How Prabandhak handle that? Siddharth, would you answer that, please?
Okay, so that has been one of the few enhancement requests, in fact, that have been coming across to us. So right now we support Unicode fonts, but eventually we are going to have font converters back and forth, so that we can support the most popular fonts, at least in I think in the next quarter.
So I would just like to add that the font conversions for any kind of font formats are available with Reverie. So after using translations, if you would want to be able to publish in a specific TTF font, you can take that help from us. We'll be very happy to help you.
Okay, I think I have covered most of the questions because I've been going back and forth. And are there any more questions? Okay, you have one. Does it support subtitle translation, SRT, DFXP, text, etc.? If yes, can we set character limit per line as per the requirement?
Yes, we can.
When we face the tool after the webinar, I'm assuming this webinar, and face a problem or have a query, where and how will that query be answered? Vinay, could you take that?
Okay, we will share the mail ID on the chat box right away, so you can directly contact us on that.
Perfect. Okay, this is interesting. Can one get the stats report for a specific user, and how accurate is the model? So I'm assuming it is referring to a translator and the accuracy levels, of that user. Siddharth, would you take that?
Can you just repeat the question? I was actually trying to find the question, but I couldn't.
The question is with regards to pulling out the stats of a specific translator with regards to whatever work he or she has done.
Okay, dashboard.
Okay, yeah. So the dashboard already has the the statistics of every translator, proofreader, or editor that are there in the platform, and you can even check the reports against each translator. Even project-specific reports are available. And right now, if the question is around automated quality checks, then that is like a chicken and egg problem. So if we would be having something that actually says that this is of the highest quality, then we would have definitely used that highest quality translation in the first place. So basically the accuracy calculation is right now based on the different levels. If the proofreader says that, okay, the translation was like 2-3 words were not correct, or points out some mistake, then that gives a fair idea of the accuracy of every translator.
So Siddharth, while you're answering that, there is another query on image localization. So that does the platform support that?
Image localization right now we do not support, but there are like I was explaining in my intro that at Reverie we have actually developed a lot of technologies, and Prabandhak is using only a small subset because there is just too many things to integrate. So we do have our OCR, and we do have text extraction technologies from image with us, but that is not right now integrated into the platform, and we plan to integrate them soon.
Okay, Vinay, this question is for you. Is 360-degree feedback available on the platform, like LSPs rate individual translators and vice versa?
Yes, we do have integrated that. So once you log into the Prabandhak, so then you can see that.
All right. Congrats for this wonderful CAT tool. Do you plan for a desktop version of this solution in near future? Vinay, this is again for you.
Siddharth can answer this.
So desktop has been the form factor for the translation industry for a very long time. Right now, we have tried to move it into web, but yes, desktop applications are definitely on the roadmap ahead. There are some few challenges, like the machine translation models are huge, which need a good amount of server, which we do not actually have in our standard PCs. So the features which actually require a huge amount of infrastructure to run, if that is present in the laptops, then we would have been easily developing the desktop version. But right now what we are doing is we are trying to run our models, AI models in the least amount of infrastructure that could be available. Once we achieve that, then we will be publishing the desktop version as well.
Rajesh, while we wrap up, there are quite a few questions around where they can lay hands on the platform and how they can start testing it. So I'll just share with everybody that please visit the URL which is mentioned on the on the chat link, and you will get to our landing page, the Prabandhak sign up page. There are certain offers which we are running right now, and you would be getting access to free demos as well.
Sure. How much time do we have for the questions? I think more or less the questions are done. I believe, there's a last question.
We are pretty much over time, Rajesh. So I think we can wrap up in 1 or 2 more questions maybe.
Sure. So I have one query here. What about the live translations like we have on rev.ai? Vinay, are you familiar with this platform?
Not much. If they can elaborate that question, definitely we can answer. So
I'm assuming they're talking about NMT. So of course, our tool is powered by NMT. That's a live translation. And there was another query: can I download my translated work from Prabandhak?
Yeah, definitely you can download your translated work. If it is assigned by LSP or the client, you cannot download that. Okay, so if you are creating your own project and you are working for that, yes, definitely you can download that project. Even you can download your TMs and you can use it.
Okay, I'm taking the last question here. How can we enroll with Prabandhak? I have already worked for around 6 months under Crystal Hughes.
So we have already given the website URL, so you can visit us at www.reveryinc.com/Prabandhak. So you will get all the information there.
With that, I would like to close this session, and I would like to thank all of you for taking out the time from your busy schedule and attending our product launch. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure we have already shared the contact details, the email IDs where people can reach out to us. And thank you so much once again, and have a good day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for attending. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a nice evening.